Hey, so if you guys were on the last call, you saw a little bit of that dark feminine come out, which is the mama bear, and it's also very firm boundaries. But we got that handled. We should have complete silence for 30 minutes. We just had to handle some things, okay? So, yes, so let me talk about 3 years of the Divine Feminine. I'm going to tell you what it has done for me. I am so magnetically more powerful and more of an attractor and more attractive than I've ever been in my entire life. We're getting older, does not matter. When you tap into this journey, it is such a healing, giving energy to the world. And I wanted to talk about how that's happened, but put it in context because the Divine Feminine is such a complicated thing, which makes sense. Is this a complicated world? Right? So women are, they mirror the different aspects and avenues, wounded, non-wounded, healthy, and what that pure creation energy can do. So the different areas that it really shows up in this 3 years where you are a pleasure for people to be around. And in that pleasure, you attract more to you of whatever you want. Men like being around you. Women love being around you. Everyone. This energy is not just for men. It is healing for everyone. Because honestly, the women love it even more than the men when you bring this energy. So I want to talk about the different areas. About emotional intelligence, how that really goes up, where you respond versus react, and you just don't have those arguments that you used to have anymore. Talk about being really receptive and really increasing your active listening skills. So so if you notice emotional intelligence, active listening, all of this, these are your emotional quotient, your EQ. We already know that people with high EQ are the most powerful people in the organization. Divine feminine journey is not just about putting on makeup and being, although it is about being, looking feminine, although that does help with your attractive powers. It is also about your emotional and spiritual growth, which is what this world needs, especially the Black community, especially a lot of women in Western societies. We're so reactive, but not able to sit back, process, and then respond. Some of women are already like that naturally. I was sort of like, I have certain aspects of femininity that were always in me, but the emotional intelligence part, the emotional growth, the active listening part, the being open and receptive part, I did not. That is not what we were taught. It was not what anyone modeled. And so that's what I'm talking to, because these are the skills. Everyone's like, oh, Black femininity movement. It is not, and I'm going to say that again, it is not just about being pretty, although that is an aspect of it. But you can be pretty all day long, but the woman who really gravitates people towards her, attracts people towards her, is magnetic, is the one that can be open to receive. So I wanted to talk because this is a bit deep and no one talks about it. And I just wish someone would have, because it would have been so beneficial growing up. But I'm almost 40. I guess that's just the journey I had to take to learn this for myself. But I wanted to share for those out there. So go ahead and say hi, so I know you're listening. And I want to know if there's more men than women watching. But I want to go into these aspects that no one talks about. So I said emotional intelligence, active listening, receptive, and pure energy radiance. There are places I go when I'm open and receptive because I'm energy sensitive. I can feel the energy I am emitting. It is a soft, warm flow. Okay, if I had to describe it. And then when you combine that with active listening, really taking in the other person 100%, following up on what they want to say, following up what they want to do, active listening, that's not masculine, which is doing and talking. It is the receptive. Not only do you have, I think, even better conversations, I find that I'm even funnier following up on their thing and what they're doing with my natural sort of, so everyone's femininity is different depending on what your archetype is. Mine has always been a little bit more playful and more childlike because it's just something I really held on to. That part of my inner child that loves joy and just innocent and even though I'm not innocent. I've held on to that and what it felt like, and I've kept it, even though society really tried to beat it out of me, just because I always just really liked that part because it was like the most precious, funnest part of me. So that inner child, she's okay. But a lot of people's inner child's impression of that innocent has been beaten out of them. And, you know, it's up to them to do the work to see if she can heal that little girl and bring her back. But some of you guys are born grown women with like dominatrix sticks. Like that's just, you got to know who you are. And some of you are like more elite or aloof, but always well poised together. So you really need to know what your archetype is when you're doing this, right? Because don't try to model Lisa when you're not childlike and carefree, but maybe you're very mystical. You know, maybe you're more like a Sade, right? Than like a Katharine Hepburn. Like just know, you know what I mean? Everyone's really different in how it manifests. So that's something. But so yeah, let's talk about active listening. That's been the game changer. Active listening is a part of feminine energy. And active listening is like you're real, like when I talk to people, it is generally 100 focused on them. 100 focused. I am not waiting to talk. I'm sitting there literally listening to what they're saying. And I just have this certain thing where like they say stuff and I hear it and I'm just like, I just start making jokes about it because I don't know. I guess I'm just getting it, and then I'm intuitive as well. So you're just picking up on things that they're not saying, and I have a very direct manner. So I'm just like drawing it out. But that has been an absolute game changer. So when I say it, it builds power. Every interaction I have, every relationship, I don't care if it's talking on the phone with the pest control people. I went to the coffee shop, and you can see it today. Like everyone was just sitting there laughing and joking. Their heart chakras were open. And there's this energy. Oh, the last part I wanted to talk about was when men and women interact, it's an energetic exchange. And when a woman is in her feminine energy, the man is, if I had to describe in words what I feel energetically, it's almost like they're feeding from you. Do you hear me? So, you know, I'm dating right now. So, you know, definitely my feminine. And I can tell, like, once I start talking to someone and I get the act of listening and they feel the energy, I know I've got them hooked. Doesn't matter what I look like after that. They want to feel that energy again and again. They're very hungry. So literally, I have to, like, cut off some people because they've had enough. And I have to go recharge because it is a lot of energy to produce that. And I wanted to try something with you. So for everyone out there, I want you guys to close your eyes and I want you to sense your energy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up that feminine energy. I open it up and I want you to see if you can feel the difference and put in the comments if you can. Okay. Layla, do we need to talk again? Do we need to talk or are you going to be quiet? Huh? Okay, thank you. Great. So I want you guys all to close your eyes if you can, if you're not driving, and just wait a second. And I'm gonna open up my energy, and I want to see if you guys can tell when I do it. So just close your eyes and keep mine open. But I'm gonna open it up right now. So just wait a second. Now, if anyone who's out there, were you able to sense that and feel that difference and that shift? Go ahead and put in the comments if you were. It's okay if you weren't, but the people who follow me are very intuitive, so they can pick up on little things like that. Or big things. I don't even think it's little. Does anyone post if you can feel that difference? Because that's literally your energy source, and men are made to sort of tap in and feed from that. Now, my job, as I'm very aware of that, and that takes energy to emit that and be in that receptive mode to be able to just take in. That actually does take energy. It can be tiring. There are parts where I shut down. There are parts where I just don't let anyone feed off of my energy source. They're not allowed to. I close and shut it down. But if you're someone that, you know, I've vetted and it's good and I like it, I will allowing is a very feminine thing. I will allow them into that radiance. I will allow them It's that energy cloud that I create. It's very unique. Not everyone can represent that. You really have to not only to get like the energy feel that I emit. There's levels. You really have to be emotionally healed because what you're feeling is the energy of not a lot of trauma and triggers and packed up emotions. You're literally getting as pure as I can get to source because of the emotional healing, because of the trauma I've had to clear, because of things I've released, because of forgiving myself, forgiving others, forgiving myself again, I forgive myself all the time because I'm always being hard on myself. You're actually getting the purest essence of how we originally came to be. So that's why if you're a woman and you've done all of that emotional healing and emotional growth, and you're actively listening and you're actively in your feminine and taking care of your body, and when you need to recharge, you shut down, you have your boundaries. So you can deal and interact with different people, men and women, but when you need to recharge, you shut down and you recharge. Now the energy you guys just felt, and if you've done that emotional healing, you can emit that because energetically, which is the conversation most people have with you, you're just not carrying that load that you used to carry. When you combine that with caring about the other person, emitting warmth, and then what happens is what I noticed is that I noticed people just genuinely loved it. So what you do, it's almost like a game to see how warm and happy and loving like you can make somebody who is open and receptive. So when I was at like the coffee shop today, one person was just like really weird. He was like this wounded masculine energy, just a scrawny guy. The other people are like working with their hands. He was just like dark in himself. Like he was not catching what I was throwing out. And like, I wasn't throwing out anything sexual. This is just like energy, like a friendly, open energy, an invitation. If you want to connect, and I'm okay with that in this environment. And he was not having it. And I was just like, look at that. It was just really obvious. But the two guys and the woman working the cash register, two were just working. They're really in their masculine energy. They're like getting things done, feeling themselves, confident. And then you have the woman up front. Her name's Cindy. She's really warm and she's really feminine. So, all of a sudden, like I let that out, I let it release. And what I do is I just open myself up. And if someone is open to that, I'll be open to receive them and take them in and listen to them and draw them into that. And it was just, it's such an interesting exchange. Cindy's telling me all this stuff about things I don't know. The guys are like following, and we're following in each other, and it becomes this nice little yin yang and back and forth between every single person. And what happens is like, I don't care about the pre stuff, but at the end of the day, like you've created such a wonderful relationship. I can literally do no wrong now if I go into that coffee shop. Okay. That's what you create. When I say it gives you power, it gives you so much power in the relationship where you are wanted, you are invited and over again, and they like you. And it is 100% you're involved, but it's about them. But you involve yourself in the natural yin yang repertoire that goes on. That it's just been pretty amazing. And so for me, I have this sort of rhythm that I have where I let that go, and my funniest self can come out because I'm listening to them and following up with them, but my own directness, my own intelligence, it shines through, but through their paradigm, their conversation, their talking points, right? So that's a beautiful energy that men and women both like. It makes you in a relationship the most valuable person there. The person who listens the most is the most popular. So like I said, a lot of this has been emotional intelligence, and that'll link it like me going into the emotional intelligence. I'm going to talk about the physical attractive part and how that has encapsulated all this other emotional growth to make me very magnetic to people, situations, and things. But I want to go into the emotional intelligence, which is something no one really talks about. And I think it's just because they don't have their pulse on it, right? And of course, we're all still growing. But the emotional intelligence part, so these are the biggest things that I've had to learn. I told you if you looked at my other Divine Feminine talks and trainings, that I got from just from intuition, from my guides, from my source. My spirit guides are really big into guiding me into, hey, this needs to be tweaked, this needs to be tweaked. My ancestors were really big when I go into meditation and channel them. But the emotional intelligence and how that really shows up is being able to respond, being able to tell a person, especially in male relationships, how you feel and what you want was actually really big. Because if they did something and I didn't like it, I had this immediate response like, you're supposed to know exactly what I want and need. How dare you? And that would be my initial, and you're not feeling the anger that would come. Like for some reason, like there was this, and then for this other reason, I always felt like, well, if I tell them what I want, they'll leave. If I tell them what I want, maybe they can't do it and we have to end this. And so you sort of shy away from telling men what you want to do because you don't want them to walk away because they can't do it. But part of the emotional intelligence of the divine feminine journey is learning how to say, this is, I feel, you provide, I receive. It basically goes down to that. Any relationship you're having problems, you need to get down to what you feel. Let them know what you feel. Let them provide, and you receive. Now, if you say what you feel, they don't provide. That's the scary part because you're like, I'm not going to get it from him. And you have to decide, do I get it from someone else? Do I get it from myself? Do I get it from someone else? Do I leave the relationship? How big a deal? That's scary, isn't it? And it was so hard. That took me like a year and a half of all this emotional upheaval. But now I'm just like, look, I got to tell you. And my energy at this point is, I'm going to tell you, I've gotten so used to responding. I'm looking to see how they respond now. I'm going to see how you respond. And I will decide if this energy that I just let you sip from, that I allow you to embrace it and that you like, if I will allow you to continue to partake in it. So it's very much like, I'm going to tell you how I feel now. So I went from like, oh, I can't, to like, oh, well, I'm telling you, and I'm watching you to see how you're going to respond or react. Now, the reason I can do that is because you've built yourself with your emotional intelligence, with your active listening. You now have such a huge repertoire of great relationships that you have cultivated, have elevated, or any new one you can draw in and attract because of that receptivity, because of that listening, because of that emotional intelligence, because of the responding, not reacting, because of that energy you emit, that you emit, your confidence and your healing of all your emotional wounds and trauma. So when you show up in light. The reason I am so strong about it now is because of that work in the divine feminine. Because I know if you don't like it, I know someone else will. So all of this has been an amazing, attractive force between my interpersonal relationships. I can do the business, I can do the marketing, I can do the videos, but when it comes to every person you interact, even my brothers and sisters like talking to me way more than they did. I'm dead serious. There's a lot more thank yous, a lot more gratitude, a lot more, oh yeah, what about this? Or, Netta, wow, like following up on their stuff versus getting in what I wanted to say. And they're just like, oh, hey, yeah, well, this is what's going on. They get excited to talk about it. And so all of these things, all of these aspects add up to people liking you more. So you're more comfortable and strong about making your boundaries known, because if someone doesn't like it, you've developed and cultivated the interpersonal skills, emotional intelligence, active listening, all those beautiful things that make people feel wanted and loved, that attract them to you. You've done that work where people want to be around you, so you're not worried if one guy doesn't want you, because there's 5 more that do. So they never really felt this energy. My clients said, like, my higher self said one time when I was going to talk to my neighbor about some dispute, and they were just like, Lisa, be careful. You're not even doing anything, but you have such a strong womanly energy, but you're so grounded in who you are. Most people haven't experienced that on this earth planet in this generation. Well, before we got all misconstrued and the Matrix hijacked us. But literally, this is new for some people, having that much confidence and power and ability to attract in a woman. And so that's been very interesting, just seeing how people respond. For the most part, they just like my energy. Like, I understand what's going on. I'm psychic, I understand what's going on, like the energy exchange. I understand when I'm emitting that energy, because when I go into active, I immediately let it out. For For those who just joined, go to the beginning. I sort of did a demonstration where you can sense my energy and sense into it when I open it up. Actually, some of you guys are a little tapped in, so I'm going to have to clear you, but it's okay. Go ahead and do it. Yeah, when I opened up, just so you can feel what that's like. But yeah, so that's been pretty amazing, because when you get to the point where your interpersonal relationships at every level are elevating and escalating, that's power. That's influence. That's power on the ground. It's power in dating. Like I said, I know if I talk to you if we make it 3-4 minutes in, I already know they're going to stay. The attraction is not necessarily my looks and whatever. Of course, that might have got them in. But it's that energy, that reference, right? Being able to center someone else other than yourself, but still have fun with it. Still have fun within their paradigm and their viewpoint and their conversations. As well as like when they say something out of line, be able to process that in the response. Now the last part, so there's also the dark feminine, which I wish you guys, most people need to understand. Like, one aspect of the female is warrior, is fighter, is mama bear, is spiritual warrior, is don't you dare, right? And so that's an aspect. And I like to say, summarize that one up in firm boundaries. So knowing that I admit this, knowing that you have this ability now to really make people feel so centered and special and warm and feel good in a way that they just don't get in this world anymore unless people like me and you do this work. The aspect is you need to know your boundaries and take care of yourself. So my self-care isn't just grooming. It is, I have a whole thing, but it's like, oh, you know what? I'm done. 5 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock to 8, I'm doing this work. It's no, I'm tapped out mentally. I'm tapped out physically. I am going to do X, withdraw, everything that needs to be done. I find another way for it. I was cooking, not cooking. I was going to do this, not happening. And being okay with it, because I have to honor my body. So what happens is you have to honor your body a lot more, because being in this energy it's energy consuming. It's tiring. And so someone said that feminine energy is the luxury energy. It really is, but I cannot stay in this energy without being very sensitive for when I get tired and take my behind to sleep. So women staying in this energy, or men or whatever, but not taking care of themselves, all of that emotional intelligence, all of that active listening, you can't sustain that. So a big part is honoring your body. So I do a lot of manifesting with my spirit guides, but I have to go, my body is involved in that. So I'll ask my higher self for a way to do X, or I want to do this, or sell more books. And she'll give me advice, and it's very like, I'm getting ideas. I was like, ugh, it's too tiring. I cannot output that energy or do all that work. So now I have to say, incorporate my body's truth into this. Let me know, and then I get more gentler and subtle inspiration and ideas of what to do that aren't super intensive, right? So there is a level of having to honor your body more. You can be a light. You can provide that active listening state. You can hold that space for people, but you have to self-care. Now, that's not necessarily grooming, although it is sometimes for me, but sometimes that's like, you know what? I'm just going to sew. I like sewing. Or I'm just going to bead. I like jewelry making too. I like a lot of things, or I'm just going to go skating, roller skating on the beach. I have a little boardwalk. I go roller skating on the beach. Or I need to withdraw and do something that I like, that is just fun, very simple. Or it could be sleep. So I have a lot of different things that I do to draw it in. It's, so I have a lot of different things I do that I like. Cooking is one of them. Maybe focusing on my health. Like, there's different things I do to get centered and away and sort of recharge. And I'm not thinking about other people. I'm not outputting energy. All my energy is going into me. And I had to describe it. The energy is going into me, right? That you do. But I will say to all the women out there, if you're on this journey, you better pay attention. We cannot sustain this without the self-care. So, it's funny, like, so I'm dating quite a few guys. And they love the energy. They love the play. And it's all play. that go back and forth. They love it. They're like, wow, this girl's listening to me. It feels good. They're not aware. They're aware of the energy, but not the way I am. Where I'm like very like I'm almost masculine about how understanding the energy I do. But sometimes they want too much, and I literally have to just like I'm not responding to any texts or phone calls. I have to recharge. You guys are hungry. I understand you never felt this before. I understand it's addictive. I understand you really like it, but there's literally like I need to take 2 days break from you. You're if I had to describe it, literally you're feeding too much. You're feeding too much. I need to recharge. Goodbye. And the funny thing about that is when they feed too much, I feel they get a little lax in how they treat you. So this whole natural masculine feminine thing really becomes very natural. And so this one guy I'm talking to, he's okay. When he's on point, but then sometimes he starts cursing like a sailor and I don't like it. And so when I see like he starts to get a little lax and throwing in some bombs that I don't like, I pull back. And it's always after we've really had a lot of intense, like close contact and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I'm like, oh, you ate too much. Okay. I'm just going to say, I used to think of it like, you ate too much. You need a break. Now, they don't know they need a break. They're still trying to text and talk. I'm like, no, you need a break. And what happens? I take the break because I needed to recharge because the energy exchange can be just as intensive. And I come back maybe a day or two later, after maybe like a full day and a half, like really going back and forth. And all of a sudden they're on point again. So it's funny because being in this energy, now I'm like, before I was like 80% masculine, 20% feminine, but now it's 80% feminine, 20% masculine. The funny thing is now, with that, like you really understand, you know, I listen to Shira, Star Goddess, because she's fun. Shira 7, she's fun. She's always been in her feminine energy. So I listen to what she said, and she's like, how do you make a marriage last with a masculine man? She's like, don't be in his face. Leave. Don't let him know where you're going. Have him chase you. And that's a very natural thing to do if you have this yin yang thing. Like you will have where they need you, but there's times where you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to leave the house before he gets, like, I literally, you know, like, I'm going to leave or you're not going to see me. Because I need to recharge and they want to eat too much and I don't have enough to give right now. I need to recharge and they need a break, right? So it's very interesting she mentions that and I'm noticing that in this play, probably because I'm just so energy sensitive and the energy I emit is very strong, right? So it's not like just some tea, like it's like, wow, right? So, you know, it takes a lot to keep it up. It takes a lot to recharge and power. They are aware of it, but not as psychically aware. They're psychically aware, but not consciously aware. They just know they like it, but they get a little drunk on the nectar, right? And so that's been very interesting too. So then let me tell you where the physical part comes in. So over the last 3 years of the Divine Feminine, I would, you know, physical appearance, I actually started doing, not because it was honestly for power. I was like, you know what? I don't do it. I force people to take me a certain way. But I was like, let me start dressing up. And I noticed, wow, even before all the healing and all the back and forth and the active listening, I was like, wow, I do get treated better. You know what? Let this be my standard so I get treated better. And so that was why I started. What I found, though, is sort of enhancing the skin routine, beauty routine for the skin, enhancing the attention to my hair, you know, more styles, not just letting it fall. My clothes and buying a different wardrobe, my health and my fitness, you know, being a little bit more concerted on my fasting, all of that stuff. So what I found was all of a sudden, all the things I were doing was already making me attractive to people and attractive in relationships, be it either friendly relationships or something more serious. But when you add all the beauty on top of it, that is when you're a femme fatale, right? You don't have to be the most beautiful to be this person. But I found my attraction powers to manifest what I want in business increases. For instance, I'm like, I want to sell this many books, right? And so with this 3-year journey of enhancing all of these beauty aspects and the emotional aspects, my confidence, my self-love, and all that, when you add on top of that a pretty picture, because you took all that time and care and learned the different beauty routines and dieting routines and physical routines that work for you, all of it just like, so say, you know, I was working in manifestation to sell 50 books. Well, and maybe I get 20. Well, when you add the physical work you've done, now you hit 50 and 60 and 70. So beauty and divine feminine work is a huge aspect, and it definitely increases, but the real work comes from your emotional intelligence and the work you do to heal yourself so you can respond and not be triggered, because that doesn't affect you like that. You've already healed that. Halo effect, yeah, and it's real. Now, some people haven't done the work and they get the halo effect, right? And so it's only going to go as far as the work you've done. So I find focusing on these more deeper, I think a little bit more complex and more challenging issues of emotional maturity, that's what I focused on. I find that, you know, that's the real sauce. When you add any of the physical beauty regimen, beauty routine, beauty information that you've created, it just sort of 100x, 10x's, 1000x's, whatever you're trying to draw to you. So, you know, maybe you're attracting more dates or whatever, because you know I manifest everything, right? Maybe you're attracting more dates. Well, you know, you attracted 10, but now with that attention to detail and all those aspects plus the looks, now you're attracting, you know, 50, right? And so that's been the journey, and all of this has responded in me just being more powerful, more powerfully attractive, in my business, in my personal life, in my neighborhood, being able to just really supercharge the emotional connection we have with people. So yeah, that, Layla, turn that down or turn it off. Which one? Which one? You want to turn it off or turn it down? I'm gonna try to turn it down. Thank you, love. All right, turn it down more. Yeah, so 3 years of my divine feminine journey, being told by my ancestors, being visited by Oshun. And if you're wondering, I was initiated as an African priestess, a priestess in within their line previously, so she just came back and reactivated. So yeah, that's what we've been doing, and that's what's been going on. This is more power than I ever had. Like I said, you know, EQ, active listening, those are all the soft skills, and they're the harder skills. But when you mix it with the divine feminine energy, it's a really beautiful play where you let them be centered, you let them feel the love, you let them feel the warmth, and you play through them, and then they love you even more because they can play on their turf in their field. But you're also having fun too, because it lets you sort of expand in their world and have fun in their world. So it's like they're inviting you in their world to have fun and to play. And there's a lot of play, so I really love that. So that's what I would say for anyone. And please watch the beginning. So 3 years in the divine feminine journey, tons of power. Power, power, power. Power, power. Power in relationships, power in your business, power in attracting, power in manifesting. All of it gets amplified to the highest level, and you're just a pleasure to be around. And I can say that with my whole chest because it's true. So any questions before I leave? I am part, so I can read responses. Hey, Signy Vara. I hope this was helpful. People talk about the divine feminine, but the EQ, active listening, receptive, taking care of your body. All right, I'm just summarizing, taking care of your body, because you just put out to do active listening, to hold that space, to center someone else. That takes energy. You have to take care of yourself. So when I show up on these places or dates or whatever, or these events, you're really getting the purest form, because I made sure, like, I am completely aware, in order to be this divine feminine energy, you have to recharge. You are a source of light, so you have to recharge. So the only way this can stay that is if I shut down and do it. But the thing is, because I attract magnetically and so powerfully things to me, I don't have to work as hard to receive those things, so I can take more time for myself. Look at that, it works. Just dropping in. Hey, Tommy, go listen to the replay. You'll like it. You'll like it. Trust me, you'll like it. I think you'll like it. This is a little higher end than just be pretty, put on a dress, okay? Now, I do all wear dresses, and I do wear heels, and I do wear skirts pretty much all the time, because I love, like, you combine that with all the other divine feminine work that you've done. I mean, it's just a really powerful combination, like, to get people to act towards you a very, 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 honestly, I'll just be honest. like I'm in that goddess mode. I'm in that like, oh yeah, you know, I took time for my hair and my makeup and how I'm dressed. I know I look good because I did my affirmations before I leave. And if I, you know, I have my affirmations and my beauty, my goddess affirmations I do. So when I appear in the world, Layla, turn it off right now. Turn it off right now. Off. Off. Okay. Now wait 10 seconds while I get off. So sorry, my daughter's 5. So and she's testing me today. It's okay. She can test. Yeah. So when I walk out, like I know my routine. I know when I've done my, you know, and of course you don't have to be the most beautiful person. It's not about that. But I know I look fine. I know I got the clothes that compliment me, the hairstyle, the amount of makeup I wanted. All of those things go into it. And so when I walk out, I'm walking out in this energy of like, okay, yeah, I know I look nice. And that's cool. You want to look? That's fine. Thank you. You're welcome, you know? And I also know there's just sort of like, oh, someone looks nice. So they did studies. If you check it out, like if you look at beauty and the studies they've done, literally, if you have 2 people in a hospital and one hospital was like all renovated and it looked nice and one did not, people healed faster in the one that looked beautiful. So when you do come out and you are present and you are in that physical beauty as well, whatever that looks like for you, because we're all different, right? But we all can enhance ourselves. When you do that, it literally psychologically eases people. They are like literally, so if they're looking at you, they are really happy to see you because beauty and harmony literally releases stress and tension. That is what that halo effect is about. They have the ability to relieve stress and tension because they look beautiful and harmonious. So that is it's psychological. You make people feel better. So you add that with all the other work, it's just really powerful. So it's been very funny for me because I've been dating and, you know, I date guys of all races. And it's funny because I go out and I'm this Black woman and I'm incredibly confident. It just is what it is, always have been. And now it's just up a level because I know who and what I am, what I bring, what I've done, the work. And it's very interesting seeing white women get super competitive. I see you ladies. And then I go to this one spot every week for karaoke and I dress up, right? Like I'm looking pretty. Listen, I drop my daughters off Friday through Sunday. So mommy dresses up, we go out, we have fun. And you know, you literally have the power. At first they're like, are you really dressing up? Does that mean we have to dress up? Do I gotta get a dress out? You know, and every week I come and I dress up and I swear trend setting, now they dress up. They were like, you are not about to come up in here every week like this. And literally getting competitive, which is fine. I don't care because you can't compete with me just off looks. It's not about looks. It's a whole package. And I know who I am, so I'm very confident in what I bring and what I did to get here. But it's very funny that when you emit this energy and you unapologetically, so I'll wear my fur. Look, I got fur coats. I wear gloves. Like I'm wearing gloves tonight. Let me show you guys. Where did I put them? So going on a date tonight. You guys know I've been dating. You know, so I will show up. I don't care. And wearing my pretty opera gloves. And I keep them on the whole time. Right? Like I show up like this. I'm dressed up. I think this is sexy. I think it looks so cute. I wear this out in public. And people are like, oh my God. But I'm so confident about it. They're just looking. And I swear, I can make the tenor of every woman. I can make every woman in a place if I go to regularly, I can get them all to start dressing up, which all the guys are like, thank you. But that's the power you bring when you sit in all the work that we did in this divine feminine journey to get to where you are. So that's the kind of power you will. Literally, I'm having white women dress up to make sure. Now, you know, you ain't beating your mom, you ain't beating the goddess. But it's cool to see how everybody's being uplifted because I sit so firmly in this femininity and my confidence in it. And like, I know I look cute, whatever. You ain't taking that from me. I'm not saying I'm the cutest, but I don't care about that. It's not about other people. It's about, I know I look cute to me, right? And what that means to me. I know I dressed well. I know all this because it took 3 years sort of for me to find my style and my hair and my, like, what, you know, my beauty routine to get a little bit better. So I focus on my skin routine so I don't have to use as much makeup. So I put on minimum makeup, but like it works for me and for the people who are attracted to me. But yeah, that's what it can do. You literally will trendset a hair bar to dressing up, and everyone's dressed up now, and everyone got out the bar just like, this bar's amazing. Because I sat in who I was unapologetically every single week, right? But it's not just the confidence I have, the self-love I have, all of that's in the Divine Feminine journey. So I have videos. So if you go to Lisa Soul Level Healing, or, you know, my Soul Powered Life, and watch my videos on Divine Feminine, I highly recommend it. I have to say, this is very powerful. I'm going to sit here. I'm sitting for the rest of my life in the 80%, sometimes 70, but mostly 80. Honestly, sometimes I go to 85 and 90. I was like, I'm gonna hire someone else to do it, you know, because I have queen in me. And it's just funny because the way my personality is, and I'm like the baby girl of the family, guys sort of pick up on who you are, your archetype. And when I was younger, I was princess. So I would be with a guy for not too long, and they're like, okay, princess. Or even the guys I'm dating, like pretty quickly, maybe within like a day or two, they're like, princess, what's going on, right? And that was before. Now, all that is like queen. No one calls me princess. It's like, okay, queen. I'm like, thank you. That's right. You know what I mean? And it's funny because you know, I'm definitely, I mean, my affirmations are goddess level now, right? A goddess letting them look, a goddess letting them feel the energy, a goddess understanding that they need this energy and being open to give it to them, but making sure you're still taken care of. And that's your journey on where you want to go. I've just always been confident, so I can go there a lot easier than other people. I don't have to be the most brightest or I don't have to be that to be confident about who I am, because I know where I was and where I've come from. But yeah, that's the energy in which I'm walking in. So I invite every woman to do it. To help deal with anxiety. What's that? Show me the phone. Give me the phone. Show me the phone. I'm trying to. I know you're trying. I know you're trying your best, baby. Here you go. You're welcome. Now hush it up, okay? I'm almost done. Yes. So yeah, you as a Black melanated woman, if you sit in your divine, like, because we're the original people, okay? Like when we sit in our divine feminine, when we act, we already have confidence in a lot of us. But when you access it, I literally see a seed, because I hang in certain parts of town where they're really open about COVID and they're over it. And it is like the parts of town where there's more Caucasian people, right? You know, because they're like over it. And I'm like, I need to go out and have fun, and that they're going out and having fun. And it doesn't matter that I am a melanated woman. What matters is that I shows up consistently in my form of beauty, with my energy, with my receptivity, with my emotional intelligence, with my confidence, with my self-forgiveness, with my inner healing, with that warm glow that I can encompass people with. And you can literally change everything around you, right? And even the guys. So I'm going to talk about something, and then I'm going to get off. It's like Thriller. This is, so men and women, there's this thing. So when I say that men feed off of your energy, that is the byplay. And so when I'm out, I'm in an open receptive mode. So that means all sorts of men are just unknowingly attracted and wanting to say hi or engage, right? And part of being open is being open to, and this is going to sound a little crazy, being open to like a homeless man or woman wanting to engage and being open to, the guy who works at the bank wanting to engage, right? So I just said different social classes, different races of ethnicities. So part of being open for me and being confident spiritually, because I'm really spiritually powerful. So I know if like, I'm not going to get in a crazy situation, I'm protected. If someone tries to do something stupid, I can change the situation like that. I can call in spirits like that. I can get it, like, don't mess with me, right? So I'm so strong powerfully that I don't worry. But it is open to receive. And when you're open to receive, so this is when I'm in my goddess mode, like I'm open to receive from all. And there's some guys who are like really trying to talk to me. I'm like, baby, in my head, like, baby, you don't have a chance. But understanding, and this is me and my goddess, I do a little bit in love and fun, because I'm not scared, never, no fear, because I know what I can do. And I will receive that, and I will do a little repartee. I will do a little bit, knowing that that's part of it. Like, they get sort of a little bit of wounded. Thank you, Jonathan, for telling her that I'm talking. Oh, my ex-husband, so you're picking up my daughter. He said, Mommy's talking, so shh. She just needed daddy energy right now, which he has. Yeah, so that's part of it too. So if you are in your goddess mode, you have to understand part of the repartee is that even you can be a goddess, but even homeless people might want to interact. And it's funny how they interact because they act a little cheeky. It's really funny. But like being open to receive even them. And this is going to be a little weird, right? But because there's like a thing right now with like men not taking rejection well. And hurting women, right? So this is sort of an interesting thing to wade into. But when you're on my side and my level of empowerment, you don't have the fear. You're very spiritually protected. You know how to call in protection spiritually. You know how to get your ancestors on people. You've seen it. You know it's not going to happen. You know how to just literally say no. And your no is so powerful. Whoever might have been thinking something will literally turn around. I have that level of understanding. I have me, then I have spirit, then I have and when you're at that level, you don't have fear come in. So I do allow the repartee. I do allow the guys, like this one guy, he was like drunk, unattractive, old, like looked like he didn't have much like any means. And he was really like happy to talk. And part of that goddess energy, which I'm at, right? Because I don't have that fear of the 3D. I just don't and I try to teach you guys not to. I mean, he's really trying to talk and you're just like, okay, I'll let you have a little bit, right? Like I will let you feed off a little bit of this energy. And I do. And then I gently go, you know what? I'm just going to go sit by myself, but thank you. Bye. And I leave. And it's such an interesting, and I wanted to mention it because it is part being open to receive. It is part of it. Being open to receive all, but without fear. And I do that from an empowered state because I've learned how to call in my protection on the spiritual level, which is more powerful than the physical. So I just wanted to go into that. That is where I am 3 years in. I wish you all to partake of this nectar of power, interpersonal relationship, EQ, and all of this raises your emotional quotient, your EQ, which you already know is what takes you from a staffer to CEO, right? Because they already have this. So love you guys. Hope you guys enjoy that. Put your comments below if you have any. But thank you guys for staying the whole time. And talk to you later. Bye.